These are the 3D VIEW-MASTER Adventures of Tintin Explorers on the Moon. VIEW-MASTER Reel 1, Picture 1. History is being made at Sprody in Sildavia. An enormous rocket launched into the night from the Atomic Research Center marks man's first attempt to land a party on the moon. The crew are world famous. Tintin, the young reporter, Snowy, his dog, Captain Haddock, Professor Calculus, who designed the rocket, and Wolf, the engineer. Lying on their bunks, the astronauts recover slowly from the effects of acceleration after takeoff. Picture 2. Suddenly, two unexpected passengers appear. Thompson and Thompson, certified detectives, appalled to find themselves heading for the moon. The launching isn't due until 1:35 a.m. They protest and they are making a final security check. But as Professor Calculus explains, 1:34 a.m. is 1:30 in the morning, not lunchtime. Picture 3. The presence of two extra passengers poses a grave problem. Oxygen supplies have been calculated for a 4-man crew and Snowy. Will the reserves be sufficient for 6? But an incredible sight diverts everyone's attention. There is the Earth, the old familiar Earth, 6,000 miles away. Seen picture 4. Meanwhile, Captain Haddock, forbidden to drink or smoke in the rocket, develops a sudden thirst for knowledge. He goes to the cabin and opens his own special books. The captain's thirst could lead to trouble. Picture 5. And if trouble is anywhere around, the Thompsons are sure to find it first. This time it's Thompson, without a P as in Venezuela. He hooks his stick in the controls and cuts off the nuclear motor, maintaining pressure inside the rocket. All the crew, in a state of weightlessness, float into the air. Picture 6. Captain Haddock has done some drinking in his time, but there's never been anything like this. A ball of whiskey floats out of the glass and goes into orbit round the captain. His books, his bottles, and even Snowy follow suit. Picture 7. Tintin manages to find a handhold and holds himself towards the controls. "Hang on tight," he yells. "I'm going to restart a nuclear motor." In the cabin below, the captain doesn't hear the warning. The motor comes to life and the laws of gravity are restored with a bump. VIEW-MASTER Reel 2, Picture 8. The captain has had enough. He's drunk his whiskey and he decides to go home. By the time the others discover his intention, it is too late. He's already out of the rocket, adrift in space and being drawn towards an asteroid. Risking his life, Tintin goes after his friend. Anchored by rope to the rocket, he just succeeds in lassoing the repentant captain and holds him to safety. Picture 9. Meanwhile, the Thompsons are again in trouble. Years ago in the desert, they contracted a strange disease which no recures. In a matter of minutes, the unfortunate detectives grow enormously long beards and their hair, continually changing color, is down to the ground. The captain takes on the job of barber. Picture 10. Soon the rocket enters the last phase of its journey. The whole ship must be turned round, so the exhaust from the nuclear motor will help to break the descent. Professor Calculus remains at the controls during this delicate maneuver. Then The crew fled on their bunks to resist the tremendous pressure of deceleration. The rocket plunks towards the moon. Picture 11. Success! Success! A perfect touchdown. The rocket rests upright, but it stands in a nightmare world, a world of jagged mountains and vast craters, mysterious, forbidden, silent. And within the ship too, nothing stirs. Over and over again, the anxious radio calls are repeated from the Earth. Earth to Moon rocket, are you receiving me? Earth to Moon rocket. Picture 12. At last, the long silence is broken. Moon rocket to Earth. Moon rocket to Earth. Receiving you loud and clear. All's well. Tintin is first to leave the ship. By radio he describes his climb down the ladder. Then, suddenly, this is it! I've walked a few steps. For the first time in the history of mankind, there is an explorer on the moon. Stores and scientific equipment are soon unloaded, but not without mishap. The wires round one crate snap without warning, and only Tintin's quick action saves Professor Calculus from death. Picture 13. Thomson and Thomson do a little exploring on their own. Dressed in space suits, they discover what it's like to jump in a world where the force of gravity is 6 times less than on Earth. With enormous leaps, they dance a lively moon ballet. Not very dignified, but fun. Picture 14. 2 days later, the tank, specially built for long-range exploration on the moon, is ready for use. Tintin, Snowy, Wolf and the captain make the first adventurous journey through a strange and chaotic landscape. On their return, Professor Calculus, Captain Haddock and the detectives leave on a 40-hour trip. VIEW-MASTER Reel 3. Picture 15. Tintin, Snowy and Wolf stay on board the rocket. Tintin mends a faulty radio while Wolf prepares a meal. When he forgets to bring any tinned milk, Tintin goes below to fetch it. No thought of danger crosses Tintin's mind as he enters the hold, but within seconds he falls senseless to the deck under a murderous blow. From the shadows a man emerges, calling to Wolf as he binds his victim's arms and legs. What's going to happen? Picture 16. Tintin's old enemy, Colonel Jorgen, in the pay of an unfriendly power, has captured the rocket and all its secrets. His careful plans have succeeded. Wolf, blackmailed into betraying his friends, smuggled his master aboard, tried to murder the professor and sent Tintin into a well-laid trap. Now Jorgen orders the terrified engineer to take the rocket back to Earth into foreign hands. A mechanical fault in the tank brings the others back to the landing site. With horror they see the nuclear jet. The rocket is taking off. They are abandoned on the moon. Picture 17. Before their helpless gaze, the rocket lifts, then suddenly falls back as the nuclear motor fails. The whole ship shudders, totters, then comes to rest, upright and apparently unharmed. Appalled, they rush towards the ladder. Picture 18. Inside the cabin, Tintin holds the 2 traitors at bay with a gun. As Captain Haddock ties them up, Tintin tells his story. Recovering consciousness in the hold, he realized the rocket was preparing for take-off. He guessed what had happened and struggled violently to free himself, just managing to undo the ropes and reach the vital motor leads in the nick of time. Picture 19. The situation is critical. Repairs take time. There's another extra man aboard. Oxygen is running low. At last the rocket is on its way. Jorgen, in a desperate final bid, meets his death, and Wolf, redeeming his treachery, gives his own life to save the others. But the oxygen is almost exhausted, and the crew are near to asphyxia when the vital moment comes to set the automatic pilot for re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. Superhuman will drags Tintin to the cabin. Barely conscious, he reaches the controls. One last effort and he collapses. Picture 20. In the control room at Sprody, the staff wait helplessly. It is a race against death. The rocket's radio is silent. Round the landing area, fire engines and ambulances join the ground team as the great spacecraft comes roaring to Earth. The journey is over. Is it too late to save the crew? Picture 21. Gantries are raised into position and saws slice open the hull of the ship. Every aid to modern medicine is used to revive the astronauts, except for Captain Haddock. A bottle of whiskey brings him to life. And even if he does trip over a stretcher, he still has the last word. I've learned just one thing from all this. Man's proper place is on dear old Earth. We want to add new videos every day, so please subscribe to our channel.
And if you had fun, thumbs up.